left hand first. Over the C minor 9 chord, you're just going to go back and forth between a C and a G, like this. Then the next chord, the D half diminished, you're going to go back and forth between a D and an A flat, like that. And then the last chord, the G7, you're going to go back and forth between a G and a D, like that. So let's take a look at this with the drum machine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the double stops in the right hand, over the C minor 9 chord, you'll have a double stop of B flat and D. Then the next chord, the D half diminished, you just move that down 2 frets to an A flat and a C. And then for the last chord, the G7 sharp 11, you'll have a double stop of F and C sharp. Now at first you should concentrate on these lines as individual parts until you get each one of them solid, and then slowly combine the two to set up the entire groove on your own. So let's put these parts together now and play them with a click. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, let's try that again now up to tempo with the drum machine. Let's try something now with the reggae feel. And just for consistency, let's stay in the basic key center of C. Except this time we'll start in C, and then we'll go down to B flat, and then down to A flat, back up to B flat, and then we'll end in C. Now in reggae, the rhythm accents always fall on beats 2 and 4, and that's where the rhythm guitar player would play his chopped chords. So we're going to simulate that by playing some staccato type double stops up here in the right hand. Alright, let's take a look at what we're doing here briefly. Now like we talked about before, in the right hand I'm going to play what the rhythm guitar player would play. Now over the C chord I'm going to play a double stop of G and C, and then we move down to the B flat chord. I go down 2 frets, do the same double stop, and then for the A flat, same thing, you move down 2 more frets, like that. Now in the second half of this, I'll keep it the same rhythmically, but I'll just change the double stops up a little bit. Now the only hard part about this whole exercise is where I do a bar of 3 against 4 type of thing, where I play some triplets in my left hand against the 8th note feel in my right hand, like this. Like that. Alright, so let's take another look at this from overhead. So now I'd like to move on to some of the fun stuff, which for me is the blues. Now what we're going to do here is take a 12/8 blues form, the key of A, and I'm going to lay down the groove in my left hand, and in my right hand I'm going to do some double stop comping. So now let's take a look at some of the double stop possibilities for the 1, 4, and 5 chords. In A7, you could do something like this. You could play a double stop of A and C sharp going down to G and B like this. Or you could also do a double stop of F sharp and A going down to E and G. Or you can do a double stop of A and D going down to G and C. Now for D7, you could do a double stop of G and C going to F sharp and C. Or you could do a double stop of B and D going down to A and C. Now for E7, you could do a double stop of A and D to G sharp and D. Or you could do a double stop of C sharp and E going down to B and D. These are obviously just a few of the double stop possibilities. You can go back and review some of the other double stops we talked about earlier in the tape. So right now, let's play this 12/8 blues form again, and the first time I play it, I'm going to play it straight. The second time through, I'm going to add in some fills and variations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can also play this with a walking bass line like this, and play a lot of the same double stops on top, except with a shuffle feel. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There I'm just using a couple different rhythm comping patterns in my right hand over a simple walking bass line. Both of those parts are written out in the book, and I think you'll find it's fairly straightforward. So now let's move to a different key, the key of C. And we're going to play a straight eighth blues feel, kind of a Mustang Sally shotgun feel. So let me play a little bit of this for you, and then we'll break it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at the left hand first. Now let's take a look at the right hand, and we're going to start on the 20th fret. Now let's put both of these together. 1, 2, 3, 4. This stuff obviously works real well when you're playing with just a few musicians, but you'll find it's a lot bigger challenge when you're playing with a larger band. Now it's real important to listen to everything else that's going on and work closely with the other musicians. The object is to lay down some tasty parts that work with the groove, but that don't clutter up